There is fire on the mountain of Nigeria's aviation sector. Nigerians are groaning under the burden of airfares that have tripled in the space of 4 months. At the root of the problem is the hike in the price of aviation fuel, which sold for about 190 naira per litre as at December 2021, now sells for 814 naira or even higher. Airline operators say the scarcity of foreign currency and the crashing of the naira against the dollar has dealt a devastating blow to the sector. Some airline operators say despite the increase in airfares, they are still running at a loss and might be forced to shut down operations. Air travel is now the safest means of interstate travel in Nigeria, given the wave of insecurity ravaging the country. And if Nigerians can no longer afford to fly, what hope do they have? Joining us now is the Managing Director, Aglo Aviation Support Services, Tayo Ujiri. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, it is said that the Nigerian aviation sector, there is fire on the mountain in this sector. I want you to paint us a vivid picture of how bad the situation is.
Rather than call fire in aviation is a no-no. So I'll say there's a lot of headwind. There's lots of rough air or the clouds.
Turbulence.
The turbulence is actually what we're going through at the moment. And previous to this time, you've talked about the economy, and we are not immune from the economy. We're actually seeing the challenge of where Forex, you did mention it earlier, is a big issue. 70 to 80% of our operations is domiciled in foreign exchange. We've not been able to acquire foreign exchange for training, for parts, for even purchase of Jet A1 fuel, which is liberalized. It's actually, as at last Thursday, it hit the roof at 1,000 naira per litre. 1,000 naira per litre. So what does that now? How does that affect us or the passengers? The prices are actually, because it's scheduled airline, they cannot just go to the market and increase their prices. And there's a limit to which they can even increase their prices because of the elasticity of the prices. So what is now we're finding is lots of delays, lots of, not because of the price of fuel or inavailability of fuel. Then you find out because of Forex as well, the fleet has depreciated. Fleet in terms of the number of available aircrafts that are operating in the country at the moment. That's obvious because once they go out for normal checks, which is safety is paramount, for them to get funding to come back it's always time. It takes a lot of time. So having said all this, we've seen lots of people not traveling, or the cost of traveling really going astronomical over the roof. And it's affecting the economy because aviation, not only is it the fastest, is a huge contributor to the economy because it moves not only services, the goods. So you have just-in-time goods that needs to be moved, lots of things that actually aviation-based. So we're seeing, and we're not just seeing this within the domestic sphere. We are aware of Emirates as at the 15, cutting their frequency into Nigeria due to the inability of not just Emirates, foreign airlines unable to get 450 billion naira that's stuck within the Nigerian economy.
You need to explain to our viewers what this means when we say Forex is not really available for your industry. Break it down. Why would you say Forex is not available? In the sense that, because people will say, you can go to the bank or these things, you don't have to hold dollar in your hand to do it. Is it a function of the general malice in the economy? And to what extent can you say this aspect of our economy called aviation is really crucial to this problem?
Thank you very much. It's for us, we have a peculiar source of funding from central bank based on the foundation that the influence of aviation and the impact of aviation on the economy. So we actually, there's a process which you process your request for Forex. And out of those requests, you're either unable to meet it or pittance of that request is met. So when that is not met, even up to the training of your pilots, you have to go and do what you train your pilots for simulator to renew their license every 6 months. They have, because we don't have that in Nigeria.
No, you have to do the training every 6 months.
Every 6 months for the pilot to be
update.
Yeah, it's called simulator training.
Yeah,
it's done out of country. That's Forex. They need to pay the service providers, and so when you're unable to get that funding from central bank, you're left with no choice but to go to the open market, power market, to source those funding at what price. Let's put apples and apples, whereby you see if we put the price of ticket to Abuja at 75,000 or 17,000 naira, and we looked at what the power market of the dollar was last week, that's about $100 for a week, and you still have to pay your fueling. You still have to look at all the ancillary costs that comes with it. Not just fueling, navigational, your landing, your parking, and all those operational costs goes with it. So you're finding that for every passenger, that $100, you are not actually breaking even. So that's where the...
Because they're relative to other societies, you make flights like that within the US or within Europe, there's no flight that is $100. unless you actually have to pay. You have to pay a long time ahead of your trip. But you can't just go there and say you want to take a flight from Miami to Pensacola and say $100, no matter how close the...
I actually want to... There's what we have in other climes, and I like actually comparing apples and apples. We have lots of, like continental North America, continental US. There are lots of people that actually have not gone out of US and travel within the US, because US is actually the biggest travel market within in aviation.
Yes.
People, you have 5 airlines: Spirit, WestJet now, no, not WestJet, the American one, trying to buy Spirit Air and Frontier. You have already 5 major airlines that are not even going international.
You have United, you have
Delta, all those of them. But what I'm saying is, you have what you call the models whereby Southwest has made good this model. It's called the low-cost carrier model.
Yes, Southwest,
Southwest airlines, whereby you can actually go and use secondary airports, and it's cheaper. What the foundational issue for us is infrastructural demise, or lack of infrastructure, availability of infrastructure. We have just, out of the 22 airports, 22 major airports, it's only 4 of our airports, which is namely Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano. They are functional 24 hours, and that means it's only that optimize for financial viability. So when the 4 out of 22, it's not even quarter of, at what is actually keeping the 22 alive, there's a challenge. Lately, we have actually that discussion about lots of operations after 6 p.m. Back to what you said earlier. How many flights go to the secondary airport? We call them secondary airports. To Enugu, to Benin, to all these Kaduna, after 6 p.m.
But relative to the population in this country, we shouldn't have such airports as secondary. And there's a problem here because Enugu, for instance, should have a lot of traffic. Jos should have a lot of traffic. Ibadan should have a lot of traffic. Benin should have a lot of traffic. Asaba should have a lot of... Normal, given the verve of activities in the country, commercial and cargo and population, something is wrong.
So what's that something is wrong? Let's put our finger on the nerve. It's the something is backward integration. Aviation is not an island. Aviation is a driver, or what we have drivers that drive aviation. And let's give a very good analogy. Dubai looked at Vision 2030, and 2050. It's been upgraded now. And they said, this is what we want to be by 2020 or 2030. But based on that, we have to develop our tourism. We have to develop infrastructure. We have to develop services. We might not be doing lots of manufacturing, but we'll be a service center. We'll be a financial hub. And we looked at where we are. It's the same thing where we are. We're in the heart of Africa. 6 hours down is South Africa, up is Europe. So we're right, we have the strategic geographical location, we have the population. So what's missing? The infrastructure, the backward integration, where if you have manufacturing in Nigeria, you'll be able to supply goods. Asaba will be able to supply, be a driver to Onitsha. It is now, but is it optimized? The bridge has been, it's now almost a completion, but why would I actually keep an hour on a bad day? You can, for an hour flight to Asaba, the bridge will be a deterrent to go into Onitsha. So all that infrastructure and backward integration, it's that missing link. The infrastructure, the manufacturing, whereby we call it the Aerotropolis, a system around the airport that's driving the goods, free trade zone. All these things are things that would drive the aviation sector, and you make people come in. Apart over and beyond that, you have what you call having events. Some places, Mauritius it's just tourism that's driving 25% of the economy. Economy, tourism, they're becoming a financial hub in Africa now. So all these things are attractions. It's not just the airport. Airport is just the hub that would actually drive those things. But the backward integration, that economy, that development, that manufacturing, those others.
That will feed.
Exactly.
That will feed it,
and you now see aviation contribute more than 10%, 5% to the economy of Nigeria.
All right, let's get back to the Forex issue now, because when you look at reports recently, the aviation minister said that he was going to have a meeting with the central bank to address this matter so that airlines can get Forex at official market rate and not go to the black market. I wonder where we are with that.
We have been down this road several times. And like you said, that's on paper. We have a preferential rate. Not preferential, we have the normal CBN rate. But it's the truth is, can CBN fund it at this time? The availability of the funds.
Well, they're saying that a lot of people are making money at the expense of the rest of us because of the differential between the official rate and
the black market rate.
But the question is, in the coffers, if I have, it's one thing to have something in my pocket to give you. Like you heard that cliche every time. You can't give what you don't have.
We don't have it at all.
Well, is that for CBN to tell us how much they have to give us?
No, it's starting from what you said.
No, it's not available. It's not been available for us. We've not been able to get it. Sincerely, we've not been able to get it.
No.
The funding and the sourcing and the funding of this for this has not been there.
What has happened now is that only the big planes are now going on. I was in a flight recently where they had to collapse 2 flights into one plane in order to. I mean, they delayed the flight for like hours. And then they said operational reasons. When you guys say operational reasons, it's one very beautiful way to lie about what is going on. Well, we heard later as a reporter, I found out that it was because of aviation fuel and that they were trying to collapse 2 flights together into a big plane. So some planes, aircraft are suffering. And that is going to be at a cost too to the airlines.
Yeah, but in all of this, it's good to mention that as at yesterday, the DG of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority actually had a press media briefing and tell the Nigerian traveling public that they have started the audit. We had 10 domestic airlines. 2 are suspended, 8 remaining, and they just started a financial and economic audit of these 8 airlines. Now, it's ongoing. The truth is, again, when the economy or the financials are not right, people tend to cut corners. And this has a huge impact on the safety and operations of the airline. So, and that's a no-no for us. Because all that we've said God forbid anything negative happens, we're not going to be saying something else.
You have to give us details of corners that they cut. Please. I want to know.
No, that's why, and it's good. That's a good question,
Yes.
and that's why this audits
Is going on.
ongoing.
No, let us give us an insight or a peep into the kinds of corners.
We did mention about a lot of the trainings.
Yes.
So if I'm supposed to be trained, my training elapsed after 6 months, I don't have funding to send you for training, and you're still flying. You're out of, you're not supposed to be flying.
You're a danger to everybody because that affected this plane that was crashing all the time. Is it 747 or so? Yes. Because the pilots were not trained.
Yes.
For that particular kind of
exactly.
Aircraft.
No, but if you look at that report, you find out that did Boeing actually mention that that system was necessary to be trained? Was it part of the training schedule? It was not. And that's why Boeing actually took a very huge hit for that. So that's just one. You find out that if I'm supposed to buy all the equipment I'm supposed to buy, there's no funding, or I don't have enough funding. Like, the normal thing is, if you don't have money, you cut what you say, you cut your coat according to your cloth.
Yeah. So rather than buy the Mercedes-Benz size, I'm going to look for Volkswagen to
which is a no-no. We cannot do that in Aviation, and it's something rather than have it happen.
But you may be forced to do so.
No, you can't be forced to do so. That's why we have oversights.
Then you'll be patching the one you have.
It doesn't happen. And that's why the eagle eye of the regulator, and even there's what you call the IOSA, which is the airline having this supervising themselves, because it's a moral issue. Aviation, you cannot take off and say you don't have enough fuel. That's the thing. You cannot take off with half tank.
Yeah, no.
It's really it's funny, but it's the truth. It's a standard procedure for us, whereby you have to have full tank to destination, as well as alternate fuel for your alternate. Because what we look at is, what if weather happens? What if life happens? What if there's a diversion? Would you have enough fuel to your alternate, not just your destination, your alternate airport? So when they ever say they're waiting for fuel, it's not that we don't have fuel on board. You find out that you need to take enough that will take care of all exigencies, and that's where we have to look at the...
So let's talk solutions now because of time. How do we deal with this problem? Because some airlines are threatening to shut down if nothing is done. So what are the solutions that we have to put in place? Because some have said maybe we should look at importing the product at an appropriate price, and I'm wondering what the appropriate price would be. And refurbishment of refineries, as well as maintaining of waiting for the Dangote refinery, were some of the solutions that were brought up.
Yes, actually, when they started earlier in the year, we saw the opportunity of, actually, they were given, when Senate, House of Reps called the airline operators, they were given a 480 to buy for 3 months. That never happened. At the other leg, another meeting, they were saying they will give them licenses to import. That's still not a solution, in my opinion. Why so? We've seen in the US, like here, Oklahoma has always given an example, we've seen Delta buy a refinery. That's not their core competence. That's not their area. So already there's a cartel that's dealing with this. Jet A1 is already liberalized. So, and again, they're going to buy, they don't have special funding like aviation, like the airline spare parts. So they're going to source Forex at whatever they source it, going to buy at the fluctuation rate, bring it back with logistics, and then sell to us. So there's that, but that's where we rightly said the Dangote will be. Everybody has looked at this Dangote refinery as maybe it will be a panacea or something that would be the solution. But how fast or how soon is this going to happen? But back to what you said, let's look at solutions. Now, the solution, in my opinion, is we're going to see, it's going to happen with some of the airlines, this collapse, some won't come back. It's the truth. The truth, because it's not just a Nigerian issue, it's a global issue. And we've seen this trend. We look at the trends and data over the last 15 years. What this has happened, we see that there's airlines that go down, but there's a resilience, and now we have airlines picking up again. But what normally happens is you find out the new ones, or those that actually will not see mergers and acquisition in Nigeria. No, we will not see, because the structure, the ownership,
the culture,
it's so different.
It's different.
And the debt that those people have amassed.
They'll rather go to Amcon than to become.
Yeah. So we've seen lots of this. But now the solution, in my opinion, I prefer that the solution is you have a structured system whereby strategic technical partners are still looking, and they would come into the system to invest money. And what that would do for us, we have economics of scale. Aviation is a global system. So if you have maybe one of the 5 major airlines in the US looking to invest here, Qatar has shown it. That's what their model in the last 3-4 years. They're investing in lots of
Qatar?
Yes.
I heard that Qatar, they have the most efficient airline in the world.
Yes, 7-star. So they've gone to invest in Rwanda, strategic partnership, the Airlink in South Africa, so they can come here. Because you have 600 million people in West Africa with high developing middle class. Yes, how many of those 600 million are traveling? That's the next question. Even if we put 2% or 5%, and with the right aircraft and economics of scale, they're able to buy more and bring down the prices, because at the last Farm Bro, you see the major players, they just put an order for aircrafts and everybody's happy. So it helps the system. So this actually would help us grow within the aviation sector.
Did you exhaust all the corner cutting? Well, you gave us 2.
No, he didn't exhaust it.
Did you? Well, please let us know.
It's just telling you.
It's important to know.
Back to when you
told us about training and parts.
If you're a chairman at the wedding ceremony, will you tell the bride and groom everything about marriage?
No, but this is about transparency.
It's about transparency
because when you're in the sky, the only thing you know is God. You don't know anywhere.
No. Now we're bringing Nigerians.
Like somebody said that whoever concentrated on God in a Toyota. No. You can't. But when you are there,
we're there. But if you look at the statistics, back to how much, we call it Hall incidents, how much of aviation accidents has actually happened?
It's probably the safest means of
It's not probably.
It is.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. How many accidents have happened since 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. within Lagos?
Yeah.
Within Lagos.
It's more dramatic.
So it has high impact. And that's why, because of this, is why we're actually being proactive rather than reactive, and saying, okay, this is a list of the audits. It's a huge among us list, because we're not just talking about there are lots of parts.
I think we should investigate this thing more, because you're not ready to tell us all.
Well, I'm ready.
You're trying to protect us. You're ready to save us from our fears.
No, but there are already those that are afraid. There's a fear of those that are afraid of flying anyway. But you find out that if you have the list, where should we start from? Let's start from ground handling. How much time do you have? So,
tell us the most important fears.
Yeah. So you find out the training for the ground handling person. Yeah. You're just looking at, if you're not being paid. Yeah. Your bread is at one. Let's be real. Bread is now about 800, 1,000 naira per loaf. And
it's like you eat a lot of bread.
No, I need. Maybe I need. You find out that you bring that. How much is that ground handling person? If there's a delay in salary, which is an economic issue, he goes to work. He drives that ground handling truck. That's that truck that actually you use for the Bowser. Yeah. Because of the law, we are human. Yeah. And in aviation, we have a huge emphasis what you call human factors. So when you look at all these human factors and you say, okay, what are the extrinsic factors that can impact this man? Because his money, if he's left home with his wife telling him that landlord has come again, or I want to talk about bread, or there's no food or gari and rice at home. When it gets to loading or doing it, he'll be distracted. He'll be distracted. He won't concentrate, and that's the risk for an accident. That's why we go through lots of SMS, safety management systems. So it's just one-off. So go ahead.
Can you muse on the irony that because of insecurity, people tend to want to fly?
Yes.
So there should be more people in the air. This is the time that we have fewer planes available to go to the air.
No, but let's piggyback. It's the irony, but the reality. Irony and reality are two different things. The reality.
Irony can be a reality.
reality. The reality is how much are people really getting? How much? 30,000 is the base rate. Okay, if it's not 30,000, if you're working at TVC, you might be at about 350,000 or 500,000.
Is that right?
Maybe that's why I'm here.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
So, but even at that, if you want to travel, say go visit your in-laws in Abuja, and you're spending 150 to Abuja and return, you find out that month you actually have to be on a very tight budget.
You so your in-laws that thank God that you're able to see me.
Yes.
That's all that I have nothing for you.
Exactly.
Thank God that I came.
So it's the fact, it's not the irony, the reality of people.
So in the short term,
yes,
it's going to be, the solution is increase in prices. That's what you're saying.
No, the solution will be there'll be more reduction of airlines, lot of delays, and increase in prices.
Right. So Nigerians have to get ready for all of that.
Like everything else.